Good morning. I'm really thrilled to be here. This is my first visit to New Paltz's campus. No, actually, I've been here before. The whole campaign is kind of a blur. You kind of forget where you've been, but I've been around this incredibly large, diverse district. And one of the things I wanted to tell you when I got here was when the invitation came to come and speak, I'm like, of course. And I said, well, what time did they want me there? And our staff said, well, 8 o'clock. And they thought I would be like, oh, no. I'm like, that's no problem. I grew up on a dairy farm. Getting up early is not a problem. That's not going to stop me from being here. So I want to thank SUNY New Paltz Center for Research, Regional Education and Outreach, the League of Women Voters of the Mid-Hudson region, the Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation, and Ulster Corps for inviting me, and thank you for everything you're doing to highlight the importance of local agriculture and the need to work together to make a difference to help us get your products to market and connect consumers with producers. As you've heard, I grew up on a dairy farm, and I'm currently the only farmer serving in the New York State Senate. My husband, my son, and I live on a sheep farm in Duanesburg now, and we have 17, because we're in lambing season, we have 17 Jacob sheep. And if you've ever seen Jacob sheep, does anybody know what they are? They're very interesting. They're a primitive breed. They have 2 or 4 horns, and they're spotted. They're black and white, and they're a small breed. And they're a perfect animal to raise on a converted dairy farm. The farm we have was a very old, it's been around for like 150 years, and it was pretty much abandoned. And they had about 25 milk cows, and it's a perfect conversion because we spent a lot of time turning it into a workable farm, a small sheep farm. And my neighbor, who has this huge dairy farm, looked at me and said, well, you're not a real farmer because you go and work elsewhere. You don't solely rely on your small sheep farm to make a living. And I'm like, well, that's true, but I grew up at a dairy farm. I'm still farming. I consider myself a farmer, and I think we have to recognize there's a lot of small niche farms getting started on these older agricultural farms that used to be the small dairy farms, and that's a good thing, and we need to encourage that. So getting back to lambing, I have a farm joke. My husband is in charge of lambing this year because I'm a senator now. I don't have time. So he didn't grow up on a farm, and he was not the one that's always been taking care of the animals, so I'm kind of pushing him out there and doing it. So he had his first lambing. It was successful, and he's got a ewe and a ram. So he's named them Tzacyk and Amador. And he said, Amador is not going to be around in 2 years. But despite the difficulties of working on a farm, I love it. And it's something I want to highlight as a senator and explore and make sure we're creating legislation that makes sense to you. And I had a meeting the other day with folks who are pushing the farm worker bill, and just having a discussion with them about dairy farms and the impact of not milking cows for one milking. I was surprised at the lack of knowledge of what it means to the farm when you miss a milking. And there's a lot of work for us to do to educate our representatives. And I will be doing that as best I can. But one of the reasons I ran for the Senate is to provide that voice to local farmers. So I hope I continue to hear from you, not just today, but throughout this session and throughout my term. And I wanted to introduce our staff. This district goes from parts of Ulster County up to Montgomery County, and we got approval yesterday to open 2 district offices. We'll be having an office in Kingston, and I wanted to introduce Alana Henneberry and Alicia Ball, who are working for me down in the Kingston office, and we'll have an office in Amsterdam in Montgomery County. Plus, I'll be in Albany also. So I'll be in these offices on opposite ends of the district 1 or 2 days a week. So you could reach me there. You don't have to come to Albany. But one of the things I did want to tell you, because I found out about it yesterday, is I've been named to serve on the Legislative Commission on Rural Resources. This is a commission that was created in 1982, and it's made up of both Republicans and Democrats from the Assembly and the Senate. Its purpose is to analyze existing state laws, programs, and services and develop legislation to better serve rural constituents and protect and preserve our state's valuable resources. So not only am I going to hope to advocate for supporting local agriculture through my role as a senator, I'm going to be involved in this bipartisan commission, and I'm going to encourage that commission to also be active and engaged and setting great proposals out there to help what we do. Frankly, the state has done far too little to support and encourage small and medium-sized farms. The numbers are very discouraging when you consider the great agricultural history of our state. In 1910, there were more than 200,000 farms across our state, and farmland covered nearly 3/4 of the state. Today, there are less than 40,000 farms, and less than 1/4 of the land is used for agriculture. In my home county of Schenectady, I think we're down to 2 dairy farms, and not as many produce farms as we used to have. Here in the Mid-Hudson Valley, the numbers are disturbing. Farmland constitutes only 13% of the region as opposed to 74% a century ago. We've gone from 16,000 farms in 1910 to less than 2,200 today. Despite this fall off, farms play a critical role in our state and local economies. Sales of agricultural goods in New York was nearly $4.5 billion in 2007, which is an increase of $1.6 billion from a decade earlier. Annual sales from the Mid-Hudson region is about $230 million of that figure. And when you add in all the processing and supporting industries, agriculture generates more than $31 billion to the New York economy. You guys are important. You're important to our bottom line and our economy. This is an important time because large corporate agribusinesses may have been the way of the past. I don't see them as the way we want to go in the future. We have an increased awareness of the health benefits of providing locally produced foods that have less of an impact on the environment. And the popularity of community-supported agriculture is growing, which provides local farmers with a guaranteed market while providing consumers with great produce, fresh, right from the farm, where you know who's produced your food. But as I said, we need new policy initiatives at the state and federal levels. I'm especially happy that Samantha Diliberti will be here, or is here from Senator Gillibrand's office. The senator has been an advocate for farmers and will continue to be our advocate on the federal level. On the state, I want to be introducing a package of rural economic development initiatives because we need to support local agriculture. You know, a simple thing like let's provide tax credits for CSAs. Simple things like that to really promote the business that you are doing. But without getting into too much details, we just need to support locally grown food, encourage its use in our schools, universities, hospitals, and other state facilities. And the food that's produced here is a tremendous resource that we need to protect and promote. The groups that are here participating in this conference have been tireless advocates for the agricultural industry, and you have a great host in the university to help bring you all together. I look forward to working with you closely. I'm going to be here the rest of the day and participate in your workshops. And if you have ideas on what we should be promoting on the state level, I'd love to hear from you about them. And if not today, certainly in the future, because I'm excited about the opportunity I have to really promote what you do, and I could ask for nothing else than to get your ideas. So thank you again for inviting me, and I look forward to many great conversations. Have a great day.